Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about the Canon R6 that was just launched this year. And I'm lucky enough to have one now for a couple of weeks. So I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts about it. But before that, where do I come from? So you guys kind of get like, am I in a similar situation than you are? So this is my trusted Canon 70D. I got it when it launched, so in 2013, and I've had it for 7 years, and it's my trusted workhorse. I absolutely love this camera. At the time, I got it mainly because of video. So I had a previous EOS, I think it was a 400D or something, so very amateur, but it couldn't do video. And I wanted to start doing hybrid, shooting and video as well. And this one had the dual pixel AF that allowed you to focus while in live mode, while you were recording. And that for me was revolutionary at the time. I could do anything with this camera. The only thing that I noticed is it's a cropped sensor, which means that it's a smaller sensor than a full frame camera, so it's not the 35 millimeters. And you would get a little bit of grain, well, quite a lot of grain, when you would go into like zooming into your pictures. Or if there was low light, it struggled a little bit with it. Other than that, I absolutely love this camera. So with that, like I was lucky enough that a couple of weeks ago, I got this guy. So this is the new Canon R6. I got the kit lens, so it's a 24-105. I got it as a promotion. I'm gonna upgrade the optics later. Let me just roll the unboxing video. You'll see that in the box, it's pretty lean. It comes only with, you know, battery, the camera, the lens, the thing to hang around your neck. What is the name of that thing? Leave it in the comments if you guys know. The strap, I guess it's a strap. But anyway, coming back here after the unboxing, you guys can see like it's more or less a similar size to the Canon 70D. So it's kind of lighter. This one comes in at 755 grams, the 70D. This one comes on at 598. So it shaves off like 150 grams. It's slightly smaller, so I'm gonna put them here on the table. You'll see that on the top it's slightly smaller. And if I put them side by side, it's slightly narrower. But what impresses me is this is a full frame camera. The reference I had before was a Canon 5D, which is significantly bigger than this. So it kind of looks like a toy almost next to the Canon 5D, but it doesn't leave it behind. So my first impressions were pretty good. Now, what I want to do is just tell you guys what I like about it and like the minor things that I like about it and if I would recommend it to you, yes or no. So what do I like about it? The first thing is the autofocus. This thing is brutal. It uses the dual pixels CMOS AF2, and basically what that is different from the Canon 70D is you can focus anywhere on the screen, so anywhere from corner to corner, and it does it via this deep learning AI, and it finds eyes like brutally fast. Really, like I'm shooting my kids and my kids are very small, so they're running all around, and as soon as I turn to the camera and the camera can see the eye, boom, it's there. While with the Canon 70D, you had to fidget still a little bit with it, so you had to place your marker where you wanted, or you had to try and predict where the kids were going, or try and like scan from one side to the other. In this one, I find myself just leaving it in servo mode, especially when doing portraits, and just like let it follow the person, and as soon as it locks onto that eye, just shoot it. And it's like microseconds fast. This thing is brutal. That autofocus, it just like blows my mind away. Number two is the low light performance of this camera. With a lens that can have an aperture of 2.8, even lower than that, I can take pictures in near darkness. I've been shooting some stills of my kids sleeping in their room at night when it's dark. And not only can I actually autofocus to them, which I could never ever do with the Canon 70D, I'd have to swap it to manual, but then the pictures that come out, the ISO, even with the ISO very, very high, it still comes out pretty good, not granular at all. So they're usable pictures. With the Canon 70D, I would struggle a little bit. And that comes from the upgrade from an APS-C sensor to the full frame. Number three is the size of this camera, obviously. Like, I don't want to be carrying around a 5D, especially because, in my case, going around with a couple of kids, and they're very small. So trying to pick one up, trying to handle the camera, like there's just too much going on there for me to have like a massive camera plus a massive lens and be able to handle it with them around. Before having kids, it wasn't a big problem. I could even have gone for 5D, but now I kind of consider those things. Number 4 is a lens adapter. So if you've been using Canon for a couple of years, you probably have an ecosystem of lenses. So given I had a APS sensor, well, I have some full frame lenses, but I also have some EFS lenses. So with this thing, which is a adapter, I got the one with the control ring, and I'll post a review soon. You just are able to put any lens that you want on your mirrorless R6, R5, whatever. Which means, so here we go. In 3 seconds, I have my old EF lens on my new R6 camera. Which means that my whole old ecosystem of lenses, it's perfectly usable here. There's no pain from upgrading from an older system into the new mirrorless ones. So I really, really love that. And Canon actually gave us the added benefit of adapting either EFS lenses with some limitations, so it's cropped, the picture is cropped, or full frame. And that is amazing. And then number 5, I think we are? 5. Mirrorless. So I was really skeptical of mirrorless versus DSLR. Basically because I didn't really see much. I thought it was hype, basically. And a lot of you probably did. I see a couple of things. One is exactly what you see through the viewfinder is exactly what you get. So because you're not going through a different system of optics through the mirror and the prism, this is actually what the sensor is seeing. So you see exactly the light on the picture. You also see the depth of field, anything. And it's really, really amazing. Which brings me to the last thing I love about the R6, the blistering speed. So he can do 20 frames per second if you use the electronics shutter. I haven't used that very much. Some people say that it has kind of a rolling shutter issue, but I have used mechanical, and that is 12 frames per second. So the Canon 70D could only do 7, and 12 is super fast. I'm even doing a couple of videos with it, just like having a constant shot, and then using that like an old black and white 1930s video, and it comes out super well. And it also means that you never miss a shot. Again, I shoot mostly portrait and my kids, and they're moving about quite a lot. And those frames per second allow me to grab the exact moment when they're looking at the camera, they're smiling or doing something that I really want to capture. The problem that I have with that is anytime I come back home, I have like 3,000 pictures to cull from. That's like the reverse issue of it. And that's everything that I really, really love about this camera. So what don't I like? Well, there's only 2 things about it. And the first thing is video. So as I said, I do a lot of photography and video. And what I used to love about the Canon 70D, and I'm not sure if you guys can pick this up on since I'm a little bit far away, is I would have this in photography, in AV, with the settings. I would be shooting pictures, and as soon as I wanted to shift to video, I'd use this knob here, press it onto video, and it would keep the settings. And I would just keep going with video. When I wanted to go back to photography, I would just swap it again. So whatever this control mode dial would be on, it would work for photography and for video. So this was a good hybrid camera, which allowed you to do with one camera 2 things almost simultaneously, just with the swap of a button. When you come to the R6, there's a dedicated, on the mode dial, there's a dedicated movie button, which is this one. And when you go into there, it has its settings. So you don't keep what you were doing in photography. And the other way, so the fastest way that Canon invented for you to swap in between one is here you have the photography shutter, and here, this red button here, just allows you to go into video. So even if you're in a AV mode, for example, and you press red, it goes into video. However, it goes into a special video mode, and let me just put it here, which is, should be popping up, which is automatic settings. So it only allows you to change the exposure level here. That's it. You can't change your aperture, you can't change the shutter speed, you can't change your ISO. To change those things, again, you have to go all the way to this mode dial, change it to movie, and then if you're in manual mode, you get those settings. So that is a little bit of a pain. It's not something extremely like I wouldn't stop buying the camera because of it, but it's a pity that having that mechanism on the 70D, Canon didn't bring it onto the R6. Suggestion for Canon, allow us to configure this button. If we can configure the red button to go into some manual mode using what we already have as photography, this will be solved. Please let us like some menu in the next firmware update. Thanks. And then the second thing that I don't like about this camera is battery life. So it uses, and I'm using like the new battery, it's a E6NH, which allows it to do the high speed shooting. However, this battery doesn't last very long. Because of the visor and the screen, it consumes quite a lot of battery. And the reason I say that is the 70D, I used to keep a battery in it for like a week, or I just even forget about it. Sometimes I'd travel and forget the charger and I would still be fine. How many pictures that is, I have no clue. I can investigate it online, but it was a lot. And I was never worried about running out of battery. While with this one, not only do I have to like take one battery with me, but I have to have a spare or two in my bag, especially if it's a long day, because it will not last the full day, especially if you're shooting intensively. And that's it, like it's just battery life. But nowadays you have a charger for everything, for your iPhone, for your iPad, for your computer. The good news is that you can plug it in, whoa, wrong side. You can plug it into USB-C if you're using this new battery, and it can charge via USB-C. So you don't have to lug a full charger around with you. So to finish this, the verdict, would I buy this camera? Definitely yes. Would I recommend it to somebody upgrading from a crop sensor APS-C camera? Yes, I definitely would. If you can afford it, because it is quite expensive, it nearly broke my bank. I'm pulling like all my gifts in this. I would definitely go with this camera. As you can see, like I just love the image quality. It actually brought back my passion for photography. It was kind of waning a little bit. I was doing mostly video, and like the last, I think 2 weeks, I've taken maybe 10,000 pictures with this of kids, of landscape, of things that I love. So it brought back my love of photography. I'm not a gear freak, so I don't have to have the latest gear. And you can see like I kept this one for 7 years, but definitely this has upgraded what I'm able to do. And that said, like if you get one, I'm almost sure that you guys will love it, especially if you come up from a crop sensor one into your first full frame and mirrorless camera. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys got the R6. Let me know also like what would you guys like me to post tips of. Love to do them. Take care and see you in the next video. Bye. By the way guys, I forgot to come with one of the things that I really don't get about this new system, which are, this is going to be the silliest thing, the lens caps. In the old lenses, you could just put a lens cap and any way it could fit, you would just put it on and it would go. With the new RF lenses, it has a little notch there, it has the red thing there. If you try to put it in any other direction, it doesn't go on. You have to like look at it and put the red with the notch and then put it in. Like Canon, how could you? Like these are the older lenses and they just fit any way possible. I didn't ever, like when you're using your camera and you're taking away a lens, I would just like to put it any way possible, not even looking at it. And now I find myself like trying to find the red thing with the notch to then fill it in. Why?